Hello, it's me, Annalisa. Back for another morning of chats. I am with my spiritual friend. I am a psychic medium. I am an ordained spiritualist reverend. I am an energy healer, a certified seance conductor. I do give private readings. If you go to my website, you can see a little bit more about the services I offer. I do have psychic development circles and everything else, but I also really, really, really love manifesting. Why do I really love manifesting? Because it's the idea that we create our own realities, right? If you look around yourself, anything that is solidly in front of you all began in the mind of man or woman, right? I've been studying this stuff for over 20 years. I didn't give myself enough credit for it for a long time, but I figure, listen, why don't I share my own experiences with you and my own, just moving stuff around so I can set my coffee over here, my own insight, because why not, right? How do we learn that if we don't learn from others? So I had an interesting thing happen last night. On one of my last videos, someone decided to start commenting. And it was more challenging what I was saying, that they believe something different, which is totally cool. And I'm super open to people having other beliefs and other experiences, because I think that's how we learn and grow, by entertaining those ideas and listening to them and thinking about them, and do they really fit with what I believe. And I also always say that, you know what, when you're on your own spiritual journey, it isn't that one person is 100% right or not. You just have to look at ideas. Do they fit with your I don't know what, sorry. Do they fit with your soul? Like, do they sit right, or do they make you feel fearful or scary? Like, how do you know what's right and what's not right? Well, I just kind of go, well, I mean, if it sounds like bullshit, it probably is, right? That doesn't sit with me. And I also think, like, if it makes you fearful or scared, or that, like, if I don't do this, then all these bad things are going to happen, then that's not right either. I've been on this, like, actually, I mean, I've been doing this spiritual thing since I was a little girl. I mean, I always had this really deep-seated belief that there was something bigger than me. I remember praying when I was like 8 years old. I mean, it was a rough childhood, and I remember praying and asking God to take me away, and please don't feel sorry for me for that. I don't think I'm the only child that ever did that. And but I had this deep belief there was something bigger than me. Dreams when I was little that would come true, all of this stuff. So this just seems natural for me to, like, want to share all this stuff, and again, be very curious about people's own beliefs and everything else. But I try to caution people not to, like, go, don't deify anybody who's teaching you. They're just a teacher. You wouldn't deify your math teacher, unless, I guess, maybe you were a super math whatever. But, like, let's not deify our spiritual teachers either. That just seems strange. I think some people have a really wonderful way of delivering it, but everybody learns differently and connects with a different style. So there's that. Anyhow, so this person, he was commenting, and I'm not going to put him on blast or his name, because he ended up deleting the comments. He was sort of trolling. We'll be honest. And he came on and he said, his first comment was, well, we're all the same person, just, past and present. Like, we're literally the same person who is always reincarnated. Like, we're just different versions of ourselves. And I said, yeah, that's actually crossed my mind. It actually has. I thought, well, that's an interesting concept, and I don't know why it came to my mind, and it did. And then I thought, well, but it doesn't really fit, because, well, time's not linear, right? So it's all kind of coming back and forth, but then it doesn't really also sit with we are all one. It's like, if you're the same spirit moving over and over. So it's like, fine, it's interesting to entertain, but it's not really what I believe. I sort of believe, like I've said before, where we all come from a main source and we're offshoots of that, and we connect back in. So if you think about, like, You know that tree system in Avatar? Was it Avatar? Avatar, the movie, the tree system. It's sort of kind of like that. We're all interconnected, but we're all our own individual self, or like cells in the body. We're all connected as one, and we all have we all receive information from the main source, but we're all sort of our own individuals at the same time, having our own experience. And um, so anyway, so he said that, and I said, oh yeah, I've thought of it, but it doesn't really fit with this belief of that I have, and think it's great to have these discussions. And then he came back, he's like, my darling, and y'all know how I can't stand people calling me darling, sweetie, honey, sugar, who don't know me, because I think it is a way for someone to immediately, are humans equal to animals? I mean, yeah, in a sense, because we're all spiritual beings, right? So do they deserve to be, you treat them with respect just as you would a human, right? They are on the other side. I've had animals come through for their owners. And being an owner is really, being a caregiver, giving them what they need so that they can live at their best, right? So, like a dog, the best way for a dog is to be, yeah, animals go to the same heaven. Absolutely. At least that's been my experience through mediumship. It's our job to like give them the life that would let them be the most mentally healthy and physically healthy, just as we would for our children. And we do the best that we can with the tools that we have and all of that good stuff. But yeah, I think it's good to honor animals. I'm not saying worship them. You don't worship humans, right? It's a weird thing. I mean, in a weird way, they kind of get put on pedestals, but they shouldn't be. We're all part of the same source, right? So this guy, then I didn't take all the screenshots, but he was getting to this point, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything about the darling thing. I see that for what it is. I'm not going to say anything. But it was a way to sort of like knock me down, to let me know he was superior. You think you're closer to God than animals are? Okay. You think I don't believe it either? Well, that's interesting that you would decide for me what I believe. That's really interesting, but I'm also going to ask you to stop that, because that's a boundary issue. So perhaps, and it's interesting that I'm talking about somebody with a boundary issue right now, and I'm talking to somebody who has a boundary issue. Hi, you just wish. So if you want to have a nice conversation, I'm good to go. But I do believe we are. And I do believe that we're supposed to respect animals the way we respect humans. So if you want to feel superior because you do things differently, animals have their own system of communication, of hierarchy, just as humans do. And I do believe it is our job to be respectful. Look at the native cultures, if you look at Native Americans, indigenous people, they understand that about respecting the earth and respecting animals and all of that. But you don't have to believe it, and that's just fine, but I do. So if you want to be polite, yeah, why not? That's energy. You're simply putting it into their figures here, but the source of all is energy. So they are a part of that. Energy is energy is energy. Good morning, Devry. So I want to get back to my topic about self-concept. That's a topic for another day. I'm not here to argue with you or any of that, but I want to talk about these things that I have to talk about, because I have a short amount of time that I have planned. So can we do that? I think I'm not talking about this, Tony, anymore, and I just said that. So, okay, so I want to talk about this person who, when we're talking about self-concept, so I'll mute you if I have to, okay, Tony? So talking about the self-concept, once you have formed a comfortable self-concept, once you have formed about, and we're always sort of working on our self-concept, right? We're always tweaking and refining. And KK, I didn't know you were here. I'm so glad you're here today. Hi, Micah. So the idea of self-concept, right? And the reason why I'm bringing up this particular thing last night is because um, it was a challenge to my, like, it's something that in the past, had this happened, like, even when I was reading these messages of his, my heart was racing and I was like feeling a little bit like, oh my God, what do I do with this? Because it's like you think about, um, I can't stand trolls. I want to answer people honestly, I really do, but I don't want to get argumentative about it because I feel like there's a time and a place for that. And also, like, if you want to believe what you want to believe, my God, go for it. But this is what I believe, and this is what I'm sharing are my beliefs here. And this is the final thing. In fact, I posted it on my Twitter. I didn't post it anywhere else. So this gentleman was becoming argumentative, like, this is what I believe. Da, 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 da. And and I was like, I could feel his energy. And I think people forget that I can feel people's energy. We all can. I just am very in tune to it. So I'm going back to find this little thing that I quoted. And I was very proud of myself for this response because I wasn't attacking him. I was simply, pointing out his behavior. And that's how we have to deal with trolls, right? We don't attack somebody and call them a big fat jerk or call them names and everything else because you don't have to do that. And also that goes to a place of weakness, much like when he started calling me darling and like, using these minimizing adjectives. So I finally got to the point where he's like, challenging it, but like in a very argumentative way. And I said, you're entitled to have your own beliefs, just as I am mine. Truth be told, neither of us knows for certain which version is fully correct. And Tony, this goes to you right now. Neither of us know which is correct. And so that's why there's this beautiful room for all of us to believe whatever we believe. And then I said, furthermore, when you refer to me as darling and dear, that shows your need to put me in my place. And some of your conversation also causes me to think you're a bit threatened by man energy, Tony. I don't perceive this as cognitive dissonance, rather, because he said, oh, sorry for my cognitive dissonance. Again, trying to take a nick at what I talked about in another talk. Rather, a need for you to express your beliefs and have me fully embrace them, agreeing with your wisdom. So, Tony, that goes to you right now. Like, you want me to believe what you want me to believe and prove that I'm just not as smart as you. And I find this really interesting. It often comes from men. But, I digress. And I don't hate men, but I just think this talks to our system of patriarchy and misogyny. Let's bust that down. And I said, I believe there is space for all of our beliefs. However, this is my channel where I'm sharing my gifts, my spiritual beliefs, and my experience with them. And then he kept going. And then he asked in a very argumentative way, like, oh, well, so what exactly do you tell yourself to believe? Like, how do you explain it to yourself? And I just said, I kind of called him out and said, oh, you're going with the tactic of putting me on the defense and trying to make me explain myself. I don't know. None of you ever owe an explanation for your spiritual beliefs to anybody. As long as you're not harming anyone, a mí no me importa. Like, you do your thing, And then I just said, and then his last thing was, you enjoy it, because I referred to this as like a movie, right? Our manifestations are playing out like a movie, and we're the screenwriter. You enjoy your movie, ma'am. It's on a screen that is way too close for you to notice the corners. Again, a dig. Said putting you at your very center of a universe wasn't enough, I guess. And he was sort of speaking in this weird godly, like he was God and the center of the universe. Look, I do talk about like we're our own gods, but it's not in this weird, non-grounded, like I'm like saying like we all have control of our own thoughts. I have endured a lot. But you know what? Listen, I've also gained because I said, your boundary issues and insecurities are showing, not to mention a few other things, mental health issues. Oh, wait, or are you also the guy who has to have the last word? Then he deleted his whole thread because he was obviously found out. When you point out people's behaviors to them, this is where self-concept comes in. I built my self-concept. I am confident. I know the right thing to say, when to say it, and how to say it. I love myself. I love myself. I respect myself. So it's okay. My voice matters. My opinions matter. I have great ideas, all of those things. When you build that up and you really believe it about yourself, you don't need to become fearful of people like this. You don't need to feel like you're minimized. You don't feel like you're less. You realize that your voice matters and you don't have to beat people down in order to make your point and stand your ground and set your boundaries. So, like with this guy, like this is a boundary. It's not okay to come here and be argumentative with me. I don't want to argue with people. I'm great with a great discussion, but I'm also okay with saying, let bygones be bygones. Okay, Yoko Yukio should be, I don't know what that's about, like, but it's weird that Tony B happened to come on here before and now you're saying something. So bye. We don't need to do this. If you don't believe in this, all trolling shows me is you're insecure, you're unhappy, you're feeling less than yourself, and you want to try and tear somebody else down to make yourself feel better. But all that does is make you feel worse. I know you don't feel good about yourself doing that kind of stuff. I know you don't. I've known people who like to troll when they're feeling terrible. It makes them feel strong and powerful, but it's a false sense of power. It's a false sense of control. Where does control really come from? Rebuild your self concept. Remind yourself you're valuable. Remind yourself that you're strong because whatever you're manifesting in your life right now as a troll is all coming from here of lack of value, lack of worth. And so you need to try and have this false sense of control over somebody else. You think it's fun to do that. And that comes from a really small, lonely, hollow place. And so I'm sending you love, and I'm really hoping that something happens in your life. Maybe you came here to learn that you have control over your thoughts and you have control over the things that happen to you. You can stand around and assume, I feel terrible and everybody treats me bad and blah, 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 even without anybody saying anything. But you can also assume people really like me. And you can start assuming different things about life. Neither of them is true necessarily. So when a man approaches and you don't give it energy, they seem to get wound up because you don't engage. Shows that, yeah. Look, people show their colors. Hi, Rosemary. Anyway, so the end of this conversation was kind of like, I was proud of myself. I thought, I'm powerful. And not because I did anything to hurt him or really knock him down. It was like, look, I see you and I honor where you're at. I see you, but I'm not engaging in this energy. And that comes from a place of self-love. And that's okay to do that. And that comes from a place of confidence where I didn't have that for a long time. I would have felt like, oh my God, maybe I would start questioning my own beliefs. Oh my God, maybe I said something wrong. Maybe I need to go back and justify. I would have engaged in the justifying what my beliefs are to this person that I owe zero to. Absolute zero. And that's where I want you guys to get with self-concept. It's not because it helps with the day-to-day things. Like, I'm never going to have where everybody works, acts perfectly and is a Stepford wife. And God, I don't think I'd want a life like that because it's kind of boring, right? I love that everybody's different and there's all these different personalities out there. That's where self-concept helps, though, is so that when those things pop up, you go, oh yeah, except for I'm not doing that here today. I like when you guys type and engage. I told my daughter, because she's staying home for a mental health day today, she's just was kind of overwhelmed with beginning of school and everything. And she's like, how long does it take? Well, sometimes it's 10 minutes if nobody's watching. This is a display. It is absolutely. It's a display of how manifestation works. I was like, oh, isn't that interesting that I was thinking about it. I was going to talk about a troll, and here we go. I could get more viewers if I showed more strength. Love yourself in the back of the bus where the driver can't see you. Okay, bye, Susanna. Bye. It's nice knowing you. Bye. Oh, I'm sorry that you don't feel good about yourself, Susanna. I'm sorry that you're like, this is where your joy comes in to try and take others down. in the end, you will see that there's probably a lot more negativity in your life. If you stopped and to really like perceive your thoughts and perceive how you treat others, you'll notice how that manifests stuff in your own life and unhappiness and lack and limited beliefs. Uh, you feel sorry for me? Why? Is that like a sincere or you're, I don't know. I wonder, is there a group that gets on and likes to do this? I'm empty inside. Oh, bye, Gloria. Oh, let's remove, like, I don't know. KK, take care of me. Oh my God. KK, you just knew you needed to watch this one today. There must be a group of you that are part of like, we're evil. Evil manifestors. What the sadly don't realize is they're manifesting their entire life right now. They're creating their entire life and their entire experience. So I digress. KK, I'm going to leave you to deleting everybody now. I'm not engaging with any of them anymore. So self-concept, self-care, it's also like laughing that stuff off because again, that's not about you. That is not about you. I am a full, whole, amazing, wonderful person. And I know that. And I got there by building up my self-concept. I got there by trusting and believing that I am a divine spark of being, just as each and every one of you are. And if we are all divine sparks of being and part of the greater source and the greater whole, then we all deserve to love ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, to be gentle with ourselves, to treat ourselves with love, and recognize that somebody who speaks to somebody else that way is coming from a place of lack, is coming from a place of not loving themselves. Because if you really love yourself and if you're really happy and you're really full, then you treat other people with kindness. I talk about that with my daughters a lot. When people are being kind of mean and nasty, I said, unhappy people, or like happy people don't treat people that way. Happy people don't treat people that way. Do you know what's interesting, Miss whatever your name is? When I was little, I used to make sure that I like kept myself, like I made sure that, it was a coping mechanism for survival, but to make sure that nobody knew how sad I was, how lonely I was when I was a little girl, like all of those things, and how tough it was at home. And because I didn't want anybody's pity. And I would say that all the time, even as a little kid, I don't want anybody's pity. So you take that gift with yourself. I really am sending out love to each and every one of your little trolley behaviors, because I know that that's coming from a place of lack and limited belief systems and not feeling whole and complete. Therefore, let's move on. That's what I wanted to talk about, was self-concept. When you build that up, you feel secure in yourself when people start attacking or when people start behaving or bringing up old crap that used to be your own fears or your own feelings or your own feelings of lack. That's going to come up, and it's going to come up as a kind of a test from the universe to go like, are you really where you're at? Do you need to refine anymore? And I think that that's kind of cool too. I also wanted to talk about, because Dylan James mentioned this Wim Hof breathing technique, and he talks about doing it in the morning and at night. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do it, because I was in a place where I needed to feel like I needed to be more stabilized. And sometimes I don't get there. Like sometimes when I do meditating, I don't really get there the same way. So I thought, always interesting to try new things, right? So it's so funny. I'm just like looking back at all the deleted stuff. Like that was just really too funny. I think, so you just wish, I wanted to say something about the low dark vibrations. I just noticed that. Let's not call them low dark vibrations, right? Let's just, because I feel like that puts them in a place where like, but if you have a limited self-beliefs, if you have a limiting self-belief system, you're only going to attract limit, right? Hang on, I have all these comments that I wanted to kind of share when I was talking about like fear and things like that. So like where that comes from. Florence Scollshin said, I do not limit God by seeing limitation in myself. With God and myself, all things are possible. Fear and impatience demagnetize, poise magnetizes things. So I wrote this, I flagged this one for perspective. Change your thoughts in the twinkling of an eye. All your conditions change. Your world is a world of crystallized ideas, crystallized words. Sooner or later, you reap the fruits of your words and thoughts. This kind of came to me thinking of this too. When you see people as weak or limited, or not weak or limited, but like, oh, I feel so sorry for you. You're like saying, you're not strong enough to handle this. And I'm going, you're powerful. Cut that crap out. Like, you can change this. You can do this. I'm always the encourager and the supporter. So watch that too. It's really interesting. When you feel that need to like feel sorry for people and pity, that's what it does. Is you're saying, we're all the same God spark and you're not possible. There's no possibility with you. And I'm saying to you, you just wish you are strong and powerful and you're waking up to your own inner power and strength. So maybe in school you were manifesting that kind of stuff, but now you know better. And so sure, we're all always working on our own self-concept, and we're always, like, again, refining and sanding it down. So this Wim Hof thing was interesting. So the first time I did it, I didn't really read anything about it, and it doesn't really tell you what you'll feel like until you're more further into it. It just says, like, lay down, sit down if you want. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, what you end up doing is they do a breathing technique for 30 breaths. If you're doing the full-on one, there's a beginner one too. But if you're doing the full-on one, it's 30 breaths where it's rapid breathing and you're essentially blowing off a whole bunch of carbon dioxide, which causes you to hyperventilate, which causes you to feel tingly, dizzy. If you hyperventilate enough and blow off enough carbon dioxide, you can actually have like contractures in your hands. That's why they have you rebreathe in a paper bag, because you're breathing back in some of that carbon dioxide. That's why after the 30 fast breaths, he has you do a breath hold for, I think the first round is a minute and the second and third rounds are for a minute and a half, and you can extend it if you want. What that breath hold does is it causes your body to hold on to carbon dioxide. And so then it like resets your system so you stop being dizzy. But I literally, the first part of it, I did it when I didn't even get that far. And I was like, what the fuck? This isn't healthy. This doesn't feel good. And then I went and read about it. So I was like, oh, okay. So when my ego jumped in and my flight or fight mode jumped in, when it happened, I reminded myself, okay, this is normal. This is a normal response. I'm okay. I'm safe, because he's not going to do it so long that they're going to put you in danger, right? So it's just enough to get you to that point where you feel a little dizzy, and then you breath hold. And then that causes, holding your breath also causes a vasovagal response, which causes your heart rate to slow down a little bit. And then you go into like where you and I was actually surprised I could hold it for the minute and a half, because I was like, oh my God, like I can't breath hold for like, I think I can hold my breath for like 20 seconds. But this actually makes it so it's possible, because your body is not feeling a lack of oxygen. It's actually over oxygenated in that minute. So I actually really like it, but I just think that there should be more information about it and more kind of warnings, like, this is what your body's going to feel like. This is what you're going to experience. This is all very normal. Remind yourself that you're safe and you're okay, and this isn't going to be too long. I can link after I post this. I'll link the because I just didn't get. I had to make a Target run this morning, y'all. So I just didn't get in here to like put the link in my description, but. There's a beginner one, I think, that probably my little girl was like asking about it. And I was like, we can try this. Like, we'll start with the beginner one. Because I think it's really great for you to learn, like, in those moments of panic or you don't feel right. I even was like, I just feel kind of anxious. I think I'm going to do this, because it relaxed me for like hours afterwards. Literally for hours afterwards, I felt like just like kind of really super chill. And who doesn't like to feel super chill, right? So yeah, it'll make you feel dizzy. It'll make your hands kind of feel funny. And I like literally like all like wiggly around. And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm safe. This is all like, it's okay. And then you breath hold, and it's weird because I'll sit there and I'm like, why do I not feel like I need to panically like, and it's really because your body is doing what it's supposed to. It's holding on the carbon dioxide. It's safe, balanced levels. Your body is like crazy highly regulated. That's why all of these things about like, drink you need your base water because your body's too acidic. Like, no, your body actually naturally does all of that for you. You don't need all of that. That's like some garbage thing they're trying to sell. That's like absolutely false information. You're getting, you know, I don't know if it's resetting your immune system, but listen, let's look at what it does. It calms you, right? It brings you from a state of like stress or whatever to a sense of calm. And your immune system is put under, it doesn't function as well if you feel stressed. There are plenty of studies to show that stress increases physical ailments, like the risk of heart disease and all other things. So reset, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe they've got their theory of whatever they do, but I think anything that you can do that decreases the amount of stress that you experience and it empowers you to have access to that, why not? It forces you to be present in what you're doing. You're definitely paying attention to what your body's doing. It is definitely a sort of type of meditation. Meditation is just about being mindful. So, and becoming aware of your mindset forces you to be mindful. It makes you like, that's the biggest thing, is the mirror. If you look around your life, you have created all of that. The good too, right? We don't always want to claim the bad stuff, but our belief systems, our limited belief systems, create the negative experiences we have. We attract in, and the thing is like, therapists have been talking about this stuff. Like when you attract in relationships, why do you attract the type of partner you had? Because you had a childhood that you had. And so you're recreating like that trauma and that stress because that's what feels comfortable to you. Your belief system is of lack, of I don't deserve, even if they don't talk about it that way, that's what they're saying. So if your mindset matters, if what you believe matters to be the truth, what you assume creates things, why not create what you want? Why not decide to assume something different? Why not decide to change all of that? Hi, Rakdan. I'm good. How are you? So I really love doing life this way. I really think it's fascinating and so interesting to watch. I've always been a people watcher and observer. Even as a kid, my mom said, like, do you know when you're like, I don't know if you guys ever did this, but I do it. My kids kind of do it a little bit, but it's like, what was I like when I was little? And my mom would have all these funny stories about my sisters. And I'd be like, what about me? And she'd go, I don't know. You were just always kind of there. I remember watching my sisters and being like, when I was really little, or watching anybody and be like, well, I'm not going to do that. That looks stupid. That doesn't look very smart to do that. Like, I was the like, let somebody else do the thing first and let me see how it works out for them before I go jump in the fire or whatever. Like that looks like that could hurt. So I was a little bit like I rode dirt bikes with the boys and jump ramps and all of that stuff. But I also like erred on the side of caution always. I don't feel bad that I went through a lot growing up, or, that I created, because I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. And there are aspects of my life that I absolutely love and adore. And I get to teach you guys and share with you guys. And I think that's I love being spiritual and I love helping other people on their own journey. So anyhow, where was I? So with the Wim Hof thing, I don't know. It's worth a try. Try the beginner one. Like if the one that Dylan James posted is too much, there's a beginner one and I can post that one here. I did send it out to my psychic development circle and was like, this might like help you get into a different space before you're connecting in intuitively. And if you're working on developing your intuition, or you really like focusing on working with your own guides and doing meditations with your own guides, it might be interesting for you to try that breathing method to really relax yourself and then go into your meditation, because you're starting from a place of like super chill. It was interesting because last night I was having a hard time falling asleep. So I started to do on my own without the video and just did the 30 breaths in and out, and then just held for, as long as I felt like was about where I was at. And when I did the videos, And it was funny because my body had been used to doing, like, my mind had already been used to doing 3, like, this follows a pattern or 3, that it was like, it felt weird for a minute that I didn't keep going. I just did 1 round of it. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? So I thought this was interesting, this comment from Neville Goddard. He said, if you think it's unfair, like if you think your life is unfair, change the conversation you're having in your mind. So if you think people keep showing up, like I was going to talk about trolls, and I manifested all these lovely trolly people. And I could have sat and thought, that's unfair. But I thought, well, I did it to myself. I did it to myself. But, you can sit and think life is unfair, or you can go, or I can think, like, maybe I always had this idea that like money doesn't come easily. Money is hard to come by. And how do you shift that belief? Like, especially when you don't have a lot of money and you're like, how am I supposed to act rich when I'm like, I got these bills coming in? Well, instead of being like, oh, I have to pay another bill, like, oh, more money out of my account. It's not, it's like, I'm grateful I have the money in my account. Just, I'm so excited that I get to pay this bill and be like settled and even, like, yes, maybe your balance is lower, but you're changing the way the money happens. So maybe you're thinking like, oh, I wish I didn't have to go shop and always shop at discount. Well, why don't you flip that and be like, look at how much money I'm like actually saving and doing well, and like celebrate it and be happy about it. I'm always good with a deal. Like, cause you like, I don't know. Oh, don't have an FML moment. The other day, and thought about what you said and said and laughed. And went, oh, cool. Yeah, because you know what? Your life is, you're always going to find, I just hate that saying. I think because I'm like, why? My life isn't perfect. But gosh, I have an opportunity every single day to refine it and correct it and make it even better. Every single day, hi Nathan. Every single day I wake up and I can refine my life. It's an opportunity to like refine it. And like, I literally get excited about going to sleep now because I'm like, oh, what am I creating? Like, what am I setting my intention for my next manifestation? What am I gonna visualize? Like, I get excited about it. I don't sit and think about it anymore. Like all the things I have to do, everything that's stressing me out. I laid down last night. I'm like starting to set boundaries with my kids. Like, I need to know what you want to eat for lunch tomorrow because I want to start lunches the night before. I need to know because I'm getting 3 kids out the door at the same time every morning because it's me. I'm the bus driver. I'm the lunch maker. So, or the escort, or whatever we're gonna call it. So I'm escorting them to school. It's all me. I don't have like, I don't do all this carpooling things. My kids could take the bus, but they don't want to, and that's fine. I don't live that far from school, but I can take them. However, in order to make myself like not stressed and feeling like a cuckoo cuckoo in the morning and being that angry mom, because I'm like, that pressure that we get when we need to be somewhere on time, and like trying to get 3 kids out the door with you is like, so, I have all these things set in place, but before I went to bed, I thought I was doing all my IMs and feeling really good, even after Mr. Trolley Pants. And I was doing, and then I was like, okay, and now what am I creating now? What's my visualization for tonight before I go to sleep? It is just a moment. This is just a moment. It'll pass, or it's all going to work out in my favor. Even if I don't care what it looks like right now, it's all working out in my favor. I have a friend. This is so cool. I want to tell you about like how you manifest things and like how you're connected to people intuition wise. So I have a friend. She was one of my kids' swim teachers. And then like through all of this COVID stuff, she ended up doing private swim, and I've done readings for her and everything else. Like, it's kind of like, but we've developed a friendship. And yes, I can read for my friends. And yes, I do read for my friends because like when I have conversations with people, sometimes stuff comes up. I'm like, you want to know what I'm getting? So, but her husband was facing some difficulties with work and didn't have a great boss. And, we talk about manifesting. And then she's also like, I'm encouraging her and celebrating her to start her own little side hustle. And I think it's going to grow to more. But, I am big about celebrating other people and building them because it takes nothing away from you. when you celebrate and support and like just really, it has, even if you're in the same industry, it takes zero away from you. And if you get excited about their possibility, it means you know that it's possible for you too. Okay, remember that, because when you're like, oh, like why them, not me, you're feeling sorry for yourself. You're in that lack and limited idea. So she said, wild day today. I hit a little snafu already, and it got me down for a little bit, but I quickly decided that it was just a hiccup, and I just needed to find a way around it. She applied for a job. Her husband got a new job offer, right after he was interviewed, and the money was like what they needed. And then I like texted her. I was like, oh my God, I literally was just thinking of you. Like I was laying next to my daughters and I was thinking about talking today, and what I was going to talk about. I didn't even plan on talking about that trolley thing. And I was like imagining talking about her and how we're all interconnected and manifesting and stuff, and just how grateful I was for her friendship. And then I said, I was just thinking about you in my live interview or my live tomorrow. And I was going to tell the story of me worried about being emotional. Oh God, y'all, I'll tell that real quick. Being emotional. I was imagining saying how grateful I am for you. And now here you are, you text me. And I was wishing congratulations. And then I said, instead of thinking it as snafus popping up, think of it as everything is always working out in my favor, best case scenario. And then she said, that made my day complete. Our minds are in sync, because I was telling her husband that instead of being upset, I see the upside. And I said, I'm glad I did hit the snafu, because I know the floodgates will open and I want to get a bit more organized first. And she already has a few orders for her product that she's selling. And so the emotional thing is I tend to, and I don't know if anybody else does this, hem and haw a little bit about I kind of do beat myself up. And I was feeling really upset that I cried on that live, because I was like, oh God, I don't need to be crying here in front of y'all. I don't know. I am Cancer Sun, Pisces Moon, so I have a lot of water in my chart. So I do cry a little bit. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm laughing. I cry when I'm angry. The tears. I am a little bit better about it than I used to be, but I was feeling like, oh, I don't know if I wanted to show that moment of weakness. And I had been beating myself up. And then my friend randomly sent a text message, and she said, I have to tell you, I watched that video. And when you got emotional, it really hit home to me about some changes and things. It was really inspired me to make some differences and changes on the way I was looking at things. So try not to beat yourself up about when things kind of happen naturally, because maybe you're a part of somebody else's miracle. We're all interconnected. We're all important. We're all, as much as other people, you're manifesting other things to happen, and other people are going to show up or be your SPs or your bosses or your friends or whatever, and you're manifesting these people into your life or these experiences into your life, you're just as much as a part of theirs. All right. So thank you. I'm going to go. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? I am happy to address anything now. I have more things flagged that I'd like to share sometime. But I adore you guys supporting me and being here with me and listening to me. And I love sharing with you. I love all of this work. You're welcome, Regine. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow. I'll come up with something else to share. I'll ask the gods. Listen to your inner self. Listen to what pay attention to what you're thinking about, and make the shift happen. Be conscious, be aware. You are the operant power, as they say. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.